What is Devilman Crybaby about? What's the point of it? Is it just sensory overload designed to make you get lost in its confusing, brutal, and scarily realistic world? Is it useless? Is nothing accomplished at the end? Is it just a cop-out show meant to cheaply get you sad off of killing characters who are far too perfect to be realistic? What is the point of Devilman Crybaby? Devilman Crybaby is a show I dearly love. I think it's one of the best examples of how expressive and dynamic the anime medium can be, and beautifully tells an extremely brave and unique story. It's a show about a lot of things, but first and foremost, it's about Akira. Akira Fudo is a high schooler who is accidentally given the power of Amon, king of the underworld. After receiving this power, Akira is one of the strongest beings on Earth, but instead of using that power for evil, he kills monsters called devils that disguise themselves as humans. This is the story of Devilman Crybaby for its first 6 episodes. Its final few are really something special though, showing how humanity's greatest enemy wasn't devils, it was themselves. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To explain why I love this show so much, we need to look at its 2 main characters and its ending. I already said the show's about Akira, but secondly, it's about Ryo is Satan reincarnated into a human body. The twist is, he doesn't know this. Ryo doesn't remember being Satan, however he still has the fallen angel's tendencies. He doesn't feel emotions the same way as the other kids around him did. Upon seeing an injured cat, he wanted to kill it to spare it a painful death. Meanwhile, Akira wants to give it comfort in its final moments. Upon the cat dying, Akira reasonably cries for it, and Ryo asks, "Why are you crying? You knew it would die. The weak ones always die." Ryo believes that weak creatures should be killed out of mercy. If a species is destined to die, why not kill them quickly? Akira, meanwhile, is the opposite. He sees the value in life, even if it's painful or useless. He doesn't see killing as mercy, he sees it as murder. Before Ryo met Akira, he was born into a village deep in the Amazon, to which the villagers living there saw him as some sort of deity. After he gets lost at sea, he ends up washing up on the Japanese shore, to which he began living with Akira. He became extremely interested in devils, despite them being an alleged myth, and he was working with a professor named Akira to discover more about devils. Ryo wants to expose devils to the world, and in an attempt to do so, he gets his old friend Akira to go with him to a party. This party is filled with devils, and Ryo coerces Akira into being possessed by Amon. This is the start to us seeing Ryo's master scheme, but as the audience, we don't actually know what the end goal is. Akira then becomes the titular Devilman, and Ryo continues to go on missions with Akira to kill devils. Eventually, Ryo confesses his plans to reveal devils to the world and involves Akira. Akira is told to give a concoction to another Devilman, Koda, to which he refuses. Ryo ends up giving it anyway, and Koda massacres the entire arena they were in. This was the first time we truly saw the extent of Ryo's lack of care for human life. He's okay watching hundreds be slaughtered by Koda for his own purposes. This footage, along with the footage Ryo had been capturing of Akira, was shown on TV to prove that devils do indeed exist, and Ryo gives the horrifying tip that perhaps anyone around you could be a devil in hiding. This causes massive backlash from the world, resulting in wars, killing, and overall anarchy. Millions are killed and fear envelops the world. Far more humans are killing other humans than devils are. It's an excellent way to show how the intelligence that humans have is actually what ends up getting them killed. There's such a foreboding sense of dread in these episodes, and I think that's because it all feels a little bit too real. Due to Ryo showing Akira on TV, Miki, Miko, and the rap group are all targeted. They're killed by an angry mob while Akira is busy helping people who were accused of being devilmen. Akira comes back to see their body parts on pikes, and he kills all of the crowd, showing how much Ryo has changed him. Akira went from believing that mercy killing was too cruel to killing dozens of people, albeit for a completely understandable reason. Ryo then visits the island Professor Akira was buried on. While there, a young indigenous child says something to Ryo in a foreign language, and he responds in the same language instinctively. Some villagers take him to see a statue of himself in a hut, and this seems to be the point where Ryo remembered who he truly was. Seeing himself be treated like a deity, as a god, reminded him of who he is compared to these people. Ryo finally awakes to his angelic abilities, and he can finally wipe out the inferior race that inhabits the earth. But before we talk about the ending, I just want to talk a little bit about Akira. Akira Fudo is a very idealistic person, as most protagonists are. But Akira isn't idealistic because he doesn't see the real pain and suffering in the world. Much the opposite. Killing devils as Amon could have gotten Akira killed at any moment. While Amon may be the strongest devil, Akira himself isn't, and we even see him almost die to Cillian. He saves Miki's life, even fighting against Ryo in the process, something he rarely does. But the biggest aspect of Akira's character is his compassion and ability to feel the sadness of others. Akira isn't a crybaby in the sense that he cried when his toy got stolen as a kid. He cried when someone else's toy got stolen. Akira always cried for other people, never for himself. Akira is what Ryo would call weak. He can't even stomach killing a cat to save it from a more painful death. He cries extremely often and is a very emotionally driven person. The complete opposite to Ryo. Akira is the worst type of creature to Ryo, someone given the power of the strongest devil only to remain as a lowly, weak human. Except, we know that this isn't true. We know Akira is strong. We know that humanity can be strong. Ryo sees humanity as lazy, and to a certain extent, he's right. The fact that so quickly after devils are revealed, the world becomes so evil, so quick to start killing their own. But we see that it doesn't have to be this way. Akira stops people from killing other humans out of fear they're devils. As they begin to throw rocks at Amon, he simply stands there and accepts it, until one child goes and hugs him, followed by more and more. After they realize that Akira isn't a monster that wants to kill all of them, they realize that all devils might not be evil. It sounds like something out of a Disney movie, and it kind of is, but children represent our pure innocence. They see the good in Akira, and soon the adults there begin to see it as well. The irony of this situation is that as Akira begins to restore his faith in humanity, his family and friends are all being killed by humans. But the fact that Akira can see that, he can see his friends all killed and still have his faith in humanity, shows how strong he is. He may kill those people, but he understands that they don't represent all of humanity. His proof is that young child, the only person who saw the good in him. Akira isn't weak because he's emotional. He's strong because he can remain sympathetic despite being one of the strongest beings on Earth. He still cries for others, even in his devil form. The strongest person is someone who can be cruel but decides not to. Someone who is given immense power and uses it for good. Someone like that is truly the only person who could kill Satan. Well, could he? Let's get to that ending. Devilman Crybaby's ending is something that left me in shambles when I first watched it. I was just confused. It all happened so fast that I didn't even know what was going on until it was too late. It begins with Akira finding Ryo on the island they grew up on. Akira and us as the audience still don't know the reason Ryo did what he did, but there's still some hope that maybe it was for a good reason. Maybe he didn't intend for it to turn out this way. All hopes are shattered once Ryo reveals his identity. Once Ryo explains, Akira realizes that it's all over. He no longer has any room in his heart for Ryo. After Akira watched his loved ones be killed, after he watched Ryo put a target on his back, after he saw Ryo turn into the literal god of the underworld, it's over. Akira must be the one to slay Satan, but he isn't doing it alone. He assembles a team of the remaining Devilmen and any devils willing to help kill Ryo. The final battle begins when the two teams start fighting each other as Ryo and Akira begin their battle. Akira hits a good shot, but just as quickly as it started, it ends. Ryo is now laying with Akira. They reminisce about old times together, how Ryo would often not understand the other kids, but Akira was always there for him, always there to provide him company, to be the one person Ryo felt comfortable sharing his feelings with. We're brought back to the cat, where Ryo once again says that Akira crying is irrational because he knew it was going to die. Akira replies saying that Ryo is also sad about the cat deep down. However, Ryo denies this. This might be Akira detecting the small amount of human that is being covered up by Satan. Remember, Ryo is still a person, he's just possessed by Satan. Ryo continues to talk about the fun times they had when they were younger, like when Akira thought the moon's shadows looked like a rabbit, or when they watched the solar eclipse together. Finally, we cut back to Satan, who tells Akira that love isn't real, and that his theory was correct, all the weak ones die. In fact, Ryo had given Akira Amon's power so that they could live together as rulers of the earth, but Akira rejected that when he fought Ryo. Ryo believes that to be a weakness. Akira let the deaths of his friends affect him, which to Ryo is irrational. Suddenly, Ryo asks Akira why he hasn't said anything. We now know that Ryo really did kill Akira, but instead of going on to become the ruler of the world, instead of flying away proclaiming his victory, Ryo begins to cry. He embraces Akira, asking for an explanation of why. why he cares so much. Akira was Satan's guide to a world he didn't understand, but now that he's gone, Satan doesn't have a way to understand emotion. He cries out to Akira, wondering why he cares. He's Satan, the most powerful being, and yet here he is, crying for the sake of someone he believed to be weak. But Akira wasn't weak. He was so strong that he got Satan to cry for him. Akira always cried for others, and now he finally has someone who cries for him. Ryo is so confused because he said it himself. Why are you crying? You knew it would die. The weak ones always die. But he finally realized it. He realized what it meant to love, what it meant to cry for someone else. Ryo pleads with Akira not to leave him alone, but of course, he gets no response. God then does what he does every time Satan gets close to winning. He resets the universe. But this time, Akira won't exist, nor will Miki, Miko, or any other character we've gotten to know. The only person who remains is Satan. So, is the world destined to repeat itself? Will Satan destroy the earth and God resets it for eternity? Perhaps. But maybe, just maybe, Satan finally understood. He understood what it meant to cry for someone else. Satan may finally give up on destroying humanity because he learned what it meant to love. Akira Fudo was the most powerful Devilman, and yet he remained a crybaby. Despite being weak, Satan still cried for him, embraced him, loved him, and was trying to do anything he could to bring him back to life. So why did Satan cry when he knew that Akira was going to die, when he was the one to kill him? I think it's because he lost the only person he had ever cared for, and the only person who cared for him. And I think that right there, the idea that you can be such a kind person, that the evilest force alive can be sympathetic towards you, I think that's what Devilman Crybaby is about.